Hey guys, how's it going? I know my day was supposed to be Monday, but I don't think Sterling will do his video today, so I'll do Thursday. I had a good idea for our videos. We should all choose like 5 or 6 of our favorite books. Favorite books that the others of us haven't read. Try and convince each other to read them, and then we can, bring the extra ones that people need to family reunion if we need to. So, a lot of my favorite books, I'm sure all of you guys have read, like Tom Sawyer, everybody's read. So I won't try and convince you to read those ones, okay? But, let's see, I got my books here. Okay, so if any of you guys haven't read Candide by Voltaire, you should, because, first of all, it's hilarious. You'll really like it. It's not that long. It's hilarious, it's a page turner. Will have you on the edge of your seat. But it also has like a really interesting point about the meaning of life and stuff like that, deep important stuff like that. And it's hilarious. So definitely gotta read Candide. Okay, this other one, A Farewell to Arms, makes me laugh every time I think about it. Because, when I was on my mission, I had this guy, Elder Brasher. We were talking about books, what books we like to read. And I was explaining A Farewell to Arms, okay? And the story is about an ambulance driver in World War I who then gets hurt. And, like his legs get blown off. And my companion looks at me and he says, "Shouldn't it be farewell to legs?" And yeah, it's farewell to arms, as in like a farewell to war, because he meets a nurse and decides that there's no point fighting. He might as well just have fun with his wife. So I guess he's kind of cowardly, but it's an interesting book. Pretty good, by Ernest Hemingway. Even better though is Ernest Hemingway's short stories called In Our Time. They're like the real Hemingway, like condensed Hemingway. Because like, you know how Hemingway's books are always so stilted? Well, these short stories called In Our Time, the collection, it's best of Hemingway. They're just short stories he wrote, and like because Hemingway's not that great of a writer, or because his sentences, he doesn't have time to say very much because all his sentences are only 3 words long. The short stories work really well for him, and he's got really interesting stories. Like, I just read a different book called A Movable Feast, and so like a lot of Hemingway's books are really good because they have really interesting stories about Spanish Civil War or bullfighting or stuff. But The Movable Feast is just like one of the worst books I've recently read, because it's just about Hemingway's daily life. So it's like, I drank coffee, then I went to the Rue Saint-Pierre, drank more coffee, then I saw somebody, then I drank more coffee, and also drinking a lot of alcohol. Just, 3-word sentences about an alcoholic in Paris. Nothing interesting happens, no deep insights or anything interesting. Not really that great of a book. But In Our Time, the short stories are good because they're about interesting subjects and good stories. Deep stuff. Okay. Then we've got another one that's pretty good, is The Wealth of Nations by Adam Smith. And yes, it's boring. But after maybe a couple chapters, once you can get through his Scottish pretense, or his proper English speaking, once you can cut through that, it's actually really interesting. Got a lot of valid points, interesting stuff, interesting observations. And even though The Wealth of Nations is it started economics going, it really honestly has more to do with human nature and politics. I think it has a lot of interesting things to say about politics. I don't know, maybe coming up for the election or something. Okay. Other books. Okay. You've got Tolstoy, with Ian in Russia. You've got War and Peace. I really liked that one. And I really liked Anna Karenina, however you say it. But I think War and Peace is going to be basically an impossible sell because it's like 10,000 pages long. And it's almost impossible to understand because you have to understand the intricacies of Russian aristocracy. You've got to understand their naming system where everybody's got 15 different names. So you're just reading this and you're like, wait, I thought he was married to her. And it's oh, it's the same guy. Or the jealous rival of somebody else has the same name as the first one, and you're just I can't remember all these people. So that one's too hard. But Anna Karenina or whatever is a lot better, a lot more interesting because it's about people instead of about the Napoleonic War. Not that bad to read once you get going. It's pretty interesting. It is a little bit I can't remember if it's Macbeth or Hamlet. Yeah, it's Hamlet, I think, who for so much of the play can't decide if he's going to avenge his father's death or not, right? Is that Hamlet or Macbeth? Yeah, Hamlet, yeah. Okay, Hamlet, Prince of Denmark, right? It's kind of like that, where, first couple chapters, rising action. And then nothing, it's just the same thing. She's having an affair. Okay, she's having an affair. Just keeps going. And then in the end, there's a little bit of a conclusion. So there, but I don't know. It's kind of after you read a couple chapters, okay, we got the point. Okay. So honestly, you could read the first 5 chapters, then read the last 5 chapters and be oh, okay, I see what's going on here. She couldn't handle her passions. But I think it would be really interesting if people read this because there are a lot of characters in there. And the main problem about this adulterous affair that Anna Karenina has with Vronsky, I think the guy's name is. But so Vronsky, he's just a punk who wants to sleep with a beautiful woman. So that's totally understandable. Maybe not right, but understandable. That's what he wants to do, right? He's just a cavalry officer. That's just what he does. He doesn't mind if it ruins everybody's lives. Okay, Anna Karenina, she, obviously screws up. But the question really is, I think, whether she's the bad guy, bad woman, or whether her husband, who just totally ignores her and is just a total jerk, whether he's the bad guy. Because he doesn't really do anything wrong, but I guess kind of sins of omission. He's just such a loser and just a limp noodle that he practically forces her to go find somebody else. And then, instead of just being cool about it and letting them get divorced and letting everybody live on with their lives, he just makes everybody miserable, So I don't know. I kind of wonder whether he's worse or whether Anna's worse. And then another good one is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez, who's a guy, even though his name is Gabriel. It's pretty interesting, pretty good. It reminds me a lot of Argentina just because there's a lot of just walking around on dusty roads, poverty stuff. I think the people are really realistic in this one. Apparently, this author is the best at magical realism. There's honestly not that much magical stuff about it. It's just kind of a realistic story about this town. I would say it's definitely worth reading. It is a bit long and you kind of have to drag yourself through it, but afterwards you're oh, okay, this was good. And then if you want actually good books, I don't have it with me, but easy to read books, you've got Nostromo by Joseph Conrad, who's Polish or British, depending on how you want to count him. That's really good. Heart of Darkness, maybe I didn't understand it, but it kind of sucks. Not a fan. Nostromo is really good and interesting to read, easy to read. So read that one. Or there's another one, don't have it. I got the audio book, but if you're interested, I don't even remember its name. But if you look it up, it's like Jim Park Sung. It's about this guy. I'll find the book and put it like in the description or whatever. But it's about this Korean guy who became like one of the top propaganda officers in North Korea, and only he was allowed to like read Western newspapers and stuff. And after a while, being one of the top propaganda officers, he realized that North Korea sucked, and and he tries to escape to China, and what will happen. It's like a really good adventure story, but also really interesting to talk about North Korea. And it's like, instead of like a political ideology there, they've practically got like religion going on. Like they believe that the first one of the Kims, that he was like conceived by a virgin, like when he was conceived when a rainbow like struck his mother's belly, and he was like born on like this magical mountain with unicorns and stuff. And it's just like, that's not communism at all. That's just some other random stuff they're making up. It's really good though. The book's really good. So those are the books I would recommend you guys read. Tell me if you want me to bring any of them. And so the rest of you guys, if you managed to watch this long into the video, the rest of you guys need to talk about your couple favorite books, but the favorite books that we haven't read. Like you can't have the Bible, you can't have Tom Sawyer, you can't have any Harry Potter books that we've all read, just to, we've all read those. So try and find ones that we haven't read. And yeah, thank you very much for watching.